Senator Alexander, it seems almost certain the administration is going to move the trial of the 9/11 suspects out of New York City. Where should they hold it, and should it be in a federal civilian court or a military commission?
Military commission. And we have to make a distinction between a kid who breaks into a sandwich shop in Detroit and a Nigerian terrorist who wants to blow up an airplane flying into Detroit. And the Congress this past year carefully went over the military commission provisions and increased the protections, made sure they were fair, and we have them for that purpose. We need to find out from terrorists like the Christmas Day bomber what else he knows. What we've found out is the best way to prevent airplanes from blowing up with Americans on them is to find out in advance. And the failure to interrogate the Christmas Day bomber, the idea of trying the 9/11 architect in the middle of New York City, all of those show a reluctance to separate enemy combatants and American citizens who commit crimes.
Senator Bayh, while the White House does seem to be caving on the idea of New York City, in their new budget, which they're going to submit this week, there's going to be $200 million to provide backup for things like security for any city that holds civilian trials. Will you vote for or against that $200 million to hold civilian trials for terror detainees in the U.S.?
Chris, with the kind of budget deficits that we're currently running, we had a discussion about this before the break. It's hard to justify spending more money on a trial in a location when you can have it someplace else. Look, I think we had to have three criteria. Number one, where can we try them safely? Where can we try them quickly? And where can we try them inexpensively? I'm for whichever venue accomplishes those things. And I think this is one of those things that sounded good in theory, but in practice doesn't work so well.
So you...
I don't think we should spend any more money than is absolutely necessary to try these guys. We had to try them quickly. We had to impose harsh sentences, including the death penalty for people who have killed Americans. Those are my criteria.
So you would not support $200 million to cities for civilian trials in federal court?
No, if there's somewhere we can try them without spending that money, why spend the money? We've got a lot of other fiscal problems.
Congressman Van Hollen, after the Christmas Day bomb attempt, you went after House Republicans saying that they were trying to score political points and even raise money off a terror plot. Going into the 2010 elections, do Democrats really want to be in the position of defending the handling of Abdul Muttalib by the U.S. government and also civilian trials?
Look, this is an area that, unfortunately, I think we've seen our colleagues playing a lot of politics. And it was a fact that a number of members went right on the internet and tried to raise money. Under the Bush administration, we used the federal courts and we used military commissions. Under the Obama administration, we're using federal courts and military commissions. They are using the military commissions for many of the people who have been detained at Guantanamo. But like the Bush administration, they've decided to use the federal courts for certain of the 9/11 perpetrators.
Would you support $200 million in federal money to cities to hold civilian trials?
I agree with Senator Bayh that we shouldn't spend any more than necessary. I'd have to look at what the alternatives were in terms of bringing these people to justice.
Well, the alternative is a military commission.
Well, no, but I don't think that we should make the very important judgment of whether it's a military commission or a federal court based on dollars and cents. Those are much more important decisions, much more important considerations than that. We should clearly find the area where you don't have to spend as much for federal court versus another, one in New York City versus somewhere else. But I do believe that if you look at the Bush administration record, they tried. We all know it's a matter of record. Musavi and other of the 9/11 perpetrators, he was the 20th hijacker, the shoe bomber. These are all people who were tried in federal courts. And all the Obama administration has said is, we're going to pick the venue which most likely results in success in putting these people away. Sometimes it's federal courts, sometimes it's the commission.
It seems clear that Attorney General Holder made the call both to hold these civilian trials of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and others in New York City, also to read Abdul Muttalib his Miranda rights. I want to ask you all, do you still have confidence in Attorney General Holder, or do you think that he should step down? Congressman Ryan, I want to start with you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think he's making the wrong decisions. We should have learned from the mistakes we made in the past. We shouldn't be Mirandizing foreign terrorists. We should send them to military tribunals. $200 million is about 4 times the startup cost of Guantanamo in the first place. So this is a mistake. He's making the wrong decisions, and he's going to give Khalid Sheikh Mohammed a propaganda tool that's going to help the terrorists and not help U.S. citizens.
Do you think that Attorney General Holder should step down?
I wouldn't have hired him in the first place.
Do you think he should step down?
That's up to the president to decide.
Senator Alexander.
I think he ought to step up to Congress and admit, if he did it, that he's the one who made those decisions. Right now, he's doing a better job of interrogating CIA employees than he is of interrogating terrorists. And he's not making a distinction between enemy combatants, the terrorists who are flying into Detroit, blowing up planes, and American citizens who are committing a crime. That's what he needs to go to Congress and say, I made that decision, here's why, and based on that, perhaps he should step down. But he ought to go to Congress and tell us who made that decision. We don't know that yet, and we've asked that question many times.
Senator Bai?
Well, the Attorney General's a good man. None of us are perfect. And I think the decision to have these trials in New York, as I said, sounded good in theory way back when, but in practice, it just was not the right thing to do. So we run the risk here of elevating form over substance. As I said, we have 3 criteria. Where can you try them quick? Where can you try them as inexpensively as possible? And where do you not jeopardize American security any more than absolutely necessary? And we have to choose that location and that type of trial that accomplishes those things.
Congressman Van Hollen, do you stand by Attorney General Holder even in the decision to read Abdul Muttalib his Miranda rights after only 50 minutes of FBI interrogation?
Chris, I don't know all the circumstances of that. What I do know is that the FBI agents who interrogated him, who are the best in the world, said that they got the information that they needed, and he will certainly be convicted as a result of the court proceedings.
You had the former CIA director in the paper today, Michael Hayden, saying it's not a matter of conviction, a matter of getting intelligence, and there's no way you can get a proper interrogation in 50 minutes.
My understanding, again, based on the statements of the FBI investigators, is they got what they needed. Now, I wasn't there, I don't know, but what I do know is that it's unfortunate that we see some people calling for Eric Holder to step down when he has been making the same decisions with respect to federal courts for some of the terror suspects versus military commissions as the Bush administration did. And the same people who are calling for his resignation didn't call for the resignation of those Bush officials. That's politics.